wait to go live on Instagram. Hi, everyone. Obviously, as we are going through it, we are talking to the lovely Sharon Murphy, the CEO of Keeley's Cause. I am just waiting to go live through to Instagram and Facebook, but let's just have a bit of a download from Sharon first. So, Sharon, how's your day been?
Yes, pretty hectic this morning, but feeling very vibrant. So ready for the tackle of this amazing chat. So thank you so much.
And take two. Take two.
Yes, take two. I thought the
Hopefully.
other one was pretty impressive. I'm sure we can
Oh
top
my
it,
gosh.
add
Oh
to
my
it.
gosh.
Look,
Yeah.
everybody
Well,
has a learning
let's see
curve.
if we can get this done. So,
It's done.
okay, let's get this started. So, how did Keeley's Cause start?
Okay, so Keeley's Cause started in 2017 when Keeley, the founder of Keeley's Cause, was age 13. So, through Keeley's own personal journey with the inability to learn the current taught curriculums that are taught in schools without the use of technology, as a person living with a disability herself with autism and an intellectual disability, Keeley decided that due to there being no government funding or ongoing NDIS support for kids to have iPads in the classrooms on a permanent basis, that she would bridge the gap and provide that.
Oh, that's beautiful. I love that so much. Oh, what
Yes.
a purpose.
Yeah. So she'd been bullied by teachers, kids,
Mm,
everything for being different. There's still the stigma around disability. Keeley wasn't allowed to have an iPad in the school because what would the other parents say if Keeley had one and they didn't? But when that is your only access to having an education and their only way to learn, I don't understand why you would deny that opportunity. And we're
exactly.
seeing a lot of it in schools at the moment. Disability kids are being left behind, they're not being included, despite them being entitled to an individual learning plan.
Yeah,
So,
right.
every child with a disability is entitled to receive one, but they're not getting them. And I understand that a lot of the schools are busy, they have other kids to tend to, and I get all that, but it doesn't take much to also include the child that has a disability who's in your school for the same purpose as everybody else, and that's to get an education. So the iPads actually hold the teachers accountable. So it's making sure that each child that is entitled to an individual learning plan with a disability is actually receiving it. So we're pretty proud about that. So we're ensuring that all these kids receive them. Because as Keeley says, despite her disability, she has dreams of becoming someone someday too. And I think
Yeah.
that's really important. We might see people with disabilities as that dis is a really big word. It's a real killer for a lot of people, but just because they have disability doesn't mean they don't have ability. So, for example,
Mm,
Keeley fails academically. She
yeah.
functions at a grade 3-4 level with an IQ of 62. But
Mm.
ability wise, we've created a national charity and we're providing iPads to help others achieve their dreams. And she does it so selflessly.
Oh, my heart right now. Like, seriously, though,
Yeah,
honestly, this beautiful young woman has decided to look at the glass half full, right? Not half
absolutely.
empty, not what
Yep.
about me and for me and as well for you, as
Yep.
you being her biggest advocate, you're there saying, no, we're going to get this done, and this is what it's going to look like, and really changing people's lives, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Oh,
Because, we champion here ability over disability because every ounce of ability these kids have, whether it be minute or the tiniest thing, you need to celebrate it and be their cheerleader because they don't have anyone else being that cheerleader. Obviously,
no.
they're getting bullied and stuff like that at school for being different. And a lot of the work for parents, it's hard. It's hard to watch your child fall apart. But if you're being their cheerleader and the one that
Mhm,
celebrates every inch of their win, they can achieve
mhm.
anything. Like Keeley said to me, is this going to work, Mum? And I said, I have no idea. but we're not going to know until we try. So let's give it a go. If it
Yep.
works, it works. If it doesn't, you can say you at least give it a go. And oh my God, look at it. This kid is
Exactly.
winning awards left, right, and centre. She just made a couple of weeks ago top 50 small business leaders of Australia. Like,
Yes.
yes, she's won 3 international awards. So yeah, we're very proud of her achievements, but Keeley doesn't realise that the charity is actually helping her. So you're
Yes.
talking about a girl at 13 that was select mutism, lacked confidence, walked with her head down and things like that. We now have a confident young lady who's now publicly speaking and getting those things in place because the charity is building her esteem and her confidence. So while she's helping others, it's actually assisting her. She just doesn't realize it.
Oh, I love that so much. I love it. And back to your point about, well, we've just got to give it a go. Isn't
Yep,
that exactly what it is around autism? I don't know about you, but I feel like with my journey with my angel boy was we had to just keep trying. We had to try
absolutely.
different
You
things
can't
and
give
to
up.
see.
You know what I mean? Look,
No.
they put everybody with autism in one box, right?
Mm,
But they're not
mm-hmm,
in one box because they're all
mm,
individual. They all
yeah.
have different learning strategies. They all have something to teach us. And this is a very important thing, right? A lot of
Mm-hmm,
parents go, oh my God, I've got this kid. I didn't ask for this kid, la, la, la. What is
mm,
the child there to teach you? Because you didn't just get this child to be punished or anything like that. You got this child for a reason. So you need to look at what that reason is. What are they there to teach you about you? Because their world is phenomenal. And if you have the opportunity to that they trust you enough to take you in it, wow, what a world it is. And I am so grateful that my kids have taken me there because I get a better understanding of them and how they see the world and how I can better support them through their journey. So,
mm-hmm,
you
mm-hmm.
know, you can't force them to do things against their will or make them do things because that's what you need to do. We work here to say you need to be the very best version of yourself, to
Yeah.
function as best as you can in a world that is unfamiliar to you. So, if they need those tools like the iPad, which is the key to their world, to navigate this world, then why aren't we giving it to them?
Mm,
Why are they being denied it? Because there's 11 schools just in Queensland that are specialist schools that I thought had iPads because Keeley's school, a specialist school, she intended had them. There's
mm,
11 schools just there that their kids don't have
mm.
iPads.
Really?
So, where's the opportunity there for them to learn? So, we're going to fill that gap and we're going to make
Yeah.
sure that these kids have these iPads and whatever it takes to get them. We've had 100 iPads refurbished recently donated that are only a couple of years old from Fire Rescue in Queensland. So, we're going to start putting them around and giving them to specialist schools for the time being until we can work out. Who we can get on board to help us get these kids to have these iPads in school. So, and I think that's important. I think
Oh,
everyone deserves a right to an education, to learn the way they learn, to live in a world as best that they can. So,
yeah, definitely. And
like,
so would you say, oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, go for it.
I was just going to say, the people who are, and the children that are accepting the iPads, is there a specific criteria that they need to meet in order
Yep.
to
So we
receive an
support
iPad?
low socioeconomic families. So it's perceived that everybody in the world owns an iPad. And I get that
Yeah.
because we've all got technology and I understand that. But for these families that have children that are, being looked after permanently 24/7, they don't have access to that. Do you know what I mean?
Mm,
You've got some families that have given up their full-time jobs to go on to carer payment to look after these children. They can't afford $10, $15 a week by the time they run around and do all the appointments and everything else that they're trying to do to further assist their child. Um, so I think it's important that we support those. Yes, there's
yes.
iPads everywhere, absolutely. But the low socioeconomic families and the parents that are doing it tough, they can't afford them. So we support those families. So to get an iPad with us, you have to be in receipt of a government payment in the parent's name with the child's listed.
Yep.
You also need a diagnosis from a pediatrician, a child psychologist, or a child psychiatrist. And if you meet that criteria, then we can assist you. So we
Yeah,
open the
definitely.
applications usually twice a year. We've just closed another round now. And we also have access to emergency iPads for kids that, may go into foster care, domestic violence, fires, floods, and we support them as well. So we've had a couple where we've had to support in those situations. So we do keep some on hand for those purposes rather than having to wait for an iPad application to open.
Yeah, right. And so I know on our first take, you
Yes.
shared with me a beautiful story that honestly nearly brought me to tears. So are you able to share that story again?
Is that the one about the flowers?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So we had to present 3 iPads to 3 children. 2 of those lived in Langwarrin. Well, not Langwarrin. I can't remember the name of it now, but it was 2.5 hours away. So we decided that we would meet them at the Children's Hospital because they were attending meetings. So we presented the iPads. Keeley presented the iPads to the boys, and the 2 boys' mum had a bunch of flowers for Keeley. And Keeley couldn't understand why the mum had a bunch of flowers for her when she was the one gifting. So I had to explain to Keeley that not only was she changing the life of the child, she was also changing the family dynamic.
Yeah.
These children, one of them was nonverbal. She was giving a voice to this child that this family was going to hear for the first time through technology. So she was like, "Oh wow, what these are for me? I can't believe it." And she hung on to those flowers for over 12 months. They were the beautiful, the fluorescent carnation type flowers
Yes.
that were around at that time. She loved them. She hung on to them like no tomorrow. But she was so excited that someone had. But as she said, I didn't expect her, and I said, no, I know you don't expect. But she just wanted to thank you. So we've had a lot of parents and even children. We've had one in the last round wrote Keeley a beautiful card thanking her for helping him. So, and he wrote that by himself. And it's just the little things that, make you feel that what you're doing is more worthwhile than you ever even imagined. And I think the
Yeah.
most heart touching thing that we can do are those presentations, like as I said to you last time, we've had a lot of people say, "Oh, what you do is great, da da la." But we have had a couple of MPs say, "Can we come and have a look at a presentation?" And you've got families that are in tears, kids that are indebted to you for helping them. And they've said, we know the work you do, but never had we imagined that a presentation was anything like this and so heart touching and heartfelt. So, and I think that's important. It's making them feel wanted. And the families go up and beyond for you as well as for sponsors that sponsor iPads. So, because they'll shout you from the rooftops because you're doing something for them that isn't normally done. You're talking about families that are often left behind. They're very isolated. They're not included in anything. The kids don't get invited to parties, and the parents don't get invited to coffee dates, and they live a very, very lonely world. So we try and support the families behind the scenes as much as we can. Also, it's not just about the iPads. And obviously, we also organise a giving day each year where we support children and their families, no matter where they live, as long as they can get to the event and they have a disability card. We give the kids brand new Lego, there's clothing, hampers, just so that they can have a wonderful Christmas, because not all families have their own families, because sometimes the disability child is seen as a burden in a family as well, and it divides a family, and that's really sad. It's really
Yeah.
sad that that's happening, but there's not much we can do about it. I think it's a lack of understanding, a lack of knowledge around autism, intellectual disabilities, And I think the more, inclusion, acceptance, understanding that we can provide, the better it is for people living with autism and disabilities.
Yeah, definitely. And how can people donate, either toys, or can they donate cash or a specific amount
Yeah, so if they
to
want
an
to donate
iPad?
cash, they can go on our website at www.keeleyscause.org.au and just click on the donate button. There's
Yep.
also the iPad application, so people can go on and read to see if they will be successful if they applied for one for when they do open. And if they do want to donate brand new toys or items for our giving day, which is on the 15th of December this year, they can contact me directly through email or on our Facebook and Instagram pages, which comes directly to me. So, yeah.
And what's your Instagram handle, just so that we can
So
have
just
it?
Keeley's Cause. So Instagram
Yep.
at Keeley's Cause, and same with Facebook. So,
Okay.
yeah. So
Perfect.
all the messages, all the emails come directly to me. So you
Yeah,
will have
great.
me as your first point of call.
I love it. I love it. So tell me, obviously this talk was aimed around inclusive education. Why do you feel that inclusive education is so important?
I think because it's providing an equal plane for
Mm,
everyone to have an equal opportunity to the things that are available in life. That'd be employment, sporting outcomes and stuff like that. Not everything is just select basis. You know what I mean? Where you can just say, oh, well, this is your skill set. Blah, blah. I understand that there are things that require higher skills, but if we also make, an all abilities, which is happening now, we're getting a lot of all ability, football teams and cricket teams. They want to be part of society. They want to be
mm,
part of their community. They want to join in. It's society that stops them from doing it. So
mm,
inclusivity, inclusive educations gives everybody the right that they have to share equally a world with everybody else on the exact same platform with no difference. And I
I
think
love that
that's
so much.
important. You've
Yeah.
got most of these people with autism who are going to be your next leaders. And like I said, the minute you mention disability, everyone goes, oh, they can't do it. Well,
Mm,
no, they
hmm.
can.
Yeah.
It's just that you're not providing the tools that they need to do it. Right?
Yeah.
You have some
Definitely.
people that are so clever. You've got Xbox now hiring people with autism, because people with autism clock the Xbox games within 24
Shock
hours.
horror. Yeah.
So now
Exactly.
they're hiring them to
Yeah.
take care of that.
Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. And so, I wanted to ask you, if you could change one thing about the education system, what would that be?
To include.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. To
Yeah.
include. And also, um, my thing would be to have an autism advocate in each school. So a teacher that understands autistic children, being able to support them and advocate them to other teachers and stuff like that. And I
Mm-hmm.
also
Mm-hmm.
believe that English and maths are taught differently these days. Like, as I told you the other day,
Yeah.
adding up 240 something and 470 something was a two-step process for us. It's now a seven-step process in some of the schools. Like, and these kids aren't understanding the format, because
No.
they work how we used to get taught in rote learning, repetitive learning. You
Mm,
repeat the learning and they memorize a lot of stuff.
mm-hmm.
So they're very clever kids.
Mm.
If you
They sure
focus on
are.
the disability, then you're going to keep them in the dis. We need to focus on the ability, have that teacher in there that teaches them the way they learn in their maths and English separately to the rest of the grade, but then incorporate them with the rest of the grade throughout, so that, and not yell at the disability child for everything that goes wrong in front
Mm,
of the whole class, because then that creates the bullying, because you've
yeah.
got the teacher saying, oh, Johnny, you're so disruptive, you're such a naughty boy, you're such this, you're such that, la 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 la. And then the kids are going out going, oh yeah, and you're naughty and we don't want to play
Mm-hmm.
with you.
They're modeling, right? They're modeling the behavior
Yep.
that they're seeing.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. So you need to create inclusion and acceptance and talk about the differences of people. You know, we talk
Mhm.
about the religions and races and the different colors and things like that. We need to do that with autism and disabilities because
Mm.
they can do most of what we can do, and if they can't, they'll tell you.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like when somebody goes and speaks to a non-verbal child and they treat them like that they're dumb and that they can't hear you. They can hear you, they just can't speak.
Yeah.
But if you
Yeah.
put them on a computer and you ask them to talk to you, their words are phenomenal. What they
Mm.
tell you, they're not silly, they see everything.
Mm.
But people
Yeah.
go, "Oh, hello, how are you? Can you hear me?"
Yeah.
Don't treat them any differently.
Yeah.
Just treat them
Exactly.
as normal people. If they
Yeah.
need you to give them something or you're not giving them something, they'll tell you. If they don't
Yeah.
like what you want to say, they'll tell you. Because if you ever want to know anything 100% factful and true, go and ask someone with autism because
Yeah.
they will not fine line it.
No.
You
No.
might not like what they have to say, but it's 100% the truth. So,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know what I mean? They're straight thinkers. They're black and white thinkers. They'll
Mm.
tell you exactly how it is. They won't sugarcoat it. So
Yeah.
don't do that for them. Don't make them feel any less than what they are, because
Mm.
they just want to be included as well. So we have created a new T-shirt called "Include Me."
Oh,
So
cute. I love it.
hashtag include me. So we want to try and do something with that and get that into schools as well. So that when
Mhm.
the kids are struggling with someone to play with, you know, if they're wearing a t-shirt, include me, or they're focusing on the include me, then, you know, everyone's starting to learn how to develop that. You know, if there's a child sitting by themselves, whether they have a disability or whether they don't, go and get them.
Mm.
Go and get them. Don't worry about what, you know, Joe Blog says about, oh, you shouldn't touch, I don't want to be your friend if you go and, you know, talk to that child, because you
Mm.
could be in that same position as that child one day too, very
Yeah.
alone. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, if
Yeah.
someone's alone, you don't have to, you know, hang around with them and take them on board 24/7, but just take the time to say, hey, would you like to come and play, or sit down and have a chat with them? Make
Yeah.
them feel accepted.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to feel accepted, whether they have a disability or they don't.
Oh,
Nobody wants to feel alone.
preach it, because it's true. And I think that we definitely felt it through lockdowns and how alone so many of us did
Oh,
feel.
absolutely. And you know
Yeah,
what? We
but
lost a lot of kids with autism in that, you know, and adults, because they couldn't function. They couldn't get the help that they needed. They couldn't get the care services that they needed so much. They couldn't get on the phone and get help because it was overloaded. And, you know, that just
yeah,
made them feel more alone than they ever felt. So
mm,
there were a lot of lives lost in that
definitely,
community. So, you know, in every
definitely.
community, but especially in the disability and autistic community, which is really, really sad.
Oh, it's so, so sad.
Yeah.
I hope, though, that the people listening, to the parents who have children with an intellectual disability, I hope that this conversation serves as a source of hope, as a source of that Keeley has an intellectual disability, and yet here she is striving, making huge headway in terms of creating an amazing charity that can give back. I think a lot of parents that I speak to, when they tell me that their children have an intellectual disability, there's that almost that assumption that, well, we're not going to get very far, or they're not going to achieve much, or, you
Yeah.
know, we've just really got a scaffold around them to make sure that we can make the most of whatever's going on. But there's so much that they can offer. And like you said, not everything is academic. How many times have you been into schools? Oh no, when I was growing up, there were so many children, and I went to a private school, and there were so many kids there that weren't academic, that
Yeah.
were, you know, creative, or that they just, you know, they love to dance, or they love to write, or whatever it was,
Yeah.
but that they couldn't sit in this pressure cooker of an exam situation and try to answer all these questions just in order to get a TER so that they could go on to uni. I think that the
Absolutely.
schooling system is totally changing. I think we're seeing a lot of that right now.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be an interesting situation going forward, especially for autistic kids.
Well, that's right. And like I said
Yeah.
before, it's the little things that matter, you know, like You might have a child that sits and bangs the wooden spoon on the pots and pans, right? While it can be annoying and very loud, how do you know that's not the next drummer of the biggest, sensation that's about to hit town?
Yeah.
If they have an ability in something, grow it. Grow
Yeah.
that ability to the best that you can grow it.
Mm-hmm.
Help them, guide them, be their supporter. Even if you think that they might fail at what they're going to do, support them, do it,
Yeah.
because they still have to learn that it's okay to try, and it's okay if it doesn't work out. It's not a fail. It means they tried, but that didn't work, so let's try something else. It's not
Correct.
about giving up. It's
No.
about finding their niche and their purpose in this world and growing it and supporting them 100%. And like I said to you the other day, I think the biggest issue is that before people have families, the discussion of having a disabled child isn't brought up as much
No.
as what
No,
it should
it's
be.
not. It's not.
So for me, I got married and had 2 children. And because my son, who's now 32, had autism, his father didn't understand that. He didn't want anything less perfect than him. So he left our marriage. Now, we never had the conversation of, well, what would we do if we had a child with a disability? Because we're so, what's the word? We're so nurtured by
Mar-
the fairy
We're
tales
marketed.
of,
Yes.
Cinderella, and you're going to meet your Prince Charming, and you're going to have children,
Yeah.
you're going to live happily ever after, and all that. And we all hope that that happens. But
Yeah.
in the real world, it doesn't, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You need to have the conversation, because this is the person that you're about to spend your life with and married with, that you need to support you.
Yeah.
If you're going to follow that journey on your own, you need to be prepared for it. So
Yeah.
if you were to say, what if we have a child with a disability, and it may not happen, but we need to talk about it. How would we work with that? If you've got someone that says, well, I'm not going to put up with that, then you automatically know, if you come to that, you have to allow yourself in that moment that you could possibly be alone.
Yep.
And it may not be. It may be that the child comes and it's a child with a disability, and the parent loves the other parent loves it as much, and they want to support it even though they said that they wouldn't, right?
Yeah.
But there's
Yeah.
also the chance that they will walk away. And this is what's happening. There are so many women that get involved in a relationship. They have a child with a disability. It wasn't discussed, and the partner walks away, and they're left on their own.
Yep.
And when you're left on your own and you're not prepared for it, it's a very, very tough, dark world. It is what it is. Like, people say to me, oh my God, you got 2 kids with autism. How do you do it? Well, I just do it. Because if I sit in the corner and cry about it, it's not going to change anything.
Yeah.
So they're here for a reason. What am I going to do about it? Well, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to do my
Yeah.
best to be the most effective parent I can be for these kids. That's my role as a parent. I didn't fill in a form and say, well, I want, 2 children. I want one as a ballerina and one as a doctor, and I want one with blue eyes, and I want this. And I never asked for that.
Yeah.
I just said I
Yeah.
wanted a child.
Yeah.
So they gave me one.
Yeah.
So do you know what I mean?
That's right.
That's right. So you have to get over the initial shock, and it is a shock because it's, wow, I didn't expect this. But then you've got to get to the point of, well, this is what it is. I can't change it. So how can I best work with it?
Yeah.
Because when you're down and you're upset and you're not coping, you're not helping them.
No.
You're making them feel worse for being here, because they're putting a burden on you, and they can see that, and you're showing them that burden. And that's not fair either.
No, it's not. And they deserve better as well.
Yeah. So
we all
have
do.
the talk. Have the
Yeah,
talk. If you're in a
absolutely.
relationship and you want to have kids, have that talk. Know what you're up against. If you decide to stay in the marriage and go ahead, that's great. But if it falls apart, you know that you'll be able to stand on your feet. You'll know it's coming. Or if you're with someone and they're going, oh, well, I'm not going to support you if that's what's going to happen, well, then relook at things, because you need somebody to support you.
Yeah. Okay. I want to do our rapid fire questions now.
Oh, here we go. Yep. It's like bingo
short
with a
answers.
difference. Let's go. Do I win a prize at the end if I answer them all right?
Short answers or one-worded answers, just
Yep,
nice and
let's
simple.
go.
Okay, so what's your best advice that you've ever received about autism?
Okay. I never received any.
You didn't receive any?
No, because when Lee was diagnosed, he was diagnosed he was 10. That was
Yep.
when autism was only just being recognised. So
Yeah, right.
his pediatrician didn't even know what autism was.
Really?
But there were no
Wow.
support services. There was nothing of what is available now. So you just had to wing it. So
Yeah,
my
okay.
best advice is listen to your child. They will show you what you need. So Lee only heard one, well, still does, only hears 1/3 of the world. So I used to say to him, go to your room and get your boots and your socks. So he'd run to his room, and come back again. So I'd say it again and he'd go to his room and come back again, empty-handed. So then I'd say, look at me. Go to your room and get your boots and your socks. What did mummy say? Go to my room and get my boots and my socks. So off he went. When I found out he had autism and he only heard 1/3 of the world, they told me that I had to change the way I spoke to him because he wouldn't understand me. So I went, oh, okay, I got to learn a new way. But the way that they were trying to teach me was what I'd already learned, because it was the same way of repeating back to him, because it was the only way I could communicate with him. So you have to find those ways. So it's just support them. Be their biggest cheerleader, because they are yours. They love you unconditionally. You need to love them unconditionally too. Yes, it's a hard road. Yes, they drive you insane, but all those little quirks and laughter and everything that comes with it, everything that's worth it and puts the icing on the cake at the end of the day.
Oh, I agree. I couldn't agree with you more. One word to describe your experience with autism.
Phenomenal.
Oh, I love it. I love it. What's your go-to self-care activity?
Oh, that's just having a Sharon day in my pajamas, chilling on the couch. If I
Yeah.
don't want to answer the emails, I don't.
Yeah.
Some Grey's Anatomy. That's a
Yeah.
really good show. Keeley actually got me started on that in like about the 6th season. And I'm saying, oh, what are you watching this for? And she kept putting it on and I kept watching it and now I'm hooked. So I think I'm up
Yep.
to like the 15th season or something.
Oh my gosh, that's
So
the
it's
best.
just taking that time. You have to recharge your batteries at the end of the
You
day,
sure do.
right? And
Yeah,
if you don't recharge the batteries, then you're not an effective carer. So while we put everybody else first, we also need to take time for us.
yeah,
So if you don't feel
definitely,
like cleaning the
definitely.
house and you don't want to do the kitchen and leave the house in the mess all day, then just do it. Just leave it. Don't do it.
Yep.
Don't do what you don't
Yep.
want to do, because then it becomes a resentful
Yep.
thing. So ask yourself, is this something I
Yes.
want to do
Yeah.
today? And if it's yes, then do it. And if it's no, then bloody well leave it.
Exactly right. Exactly. Okay, so what's your most rewarding part of your work?
Have to be the giving of the iPads. They are the most heart-touching moment for everybody, for the sponsor, for the parent, for us, for the child.
Yeah,
Most
love that.
importantly, the child, because you've now given them the key to their success, the key to their world, the key to their future, the key to themselves, more importantly, in a
Oh, I
world that
love
they
it.
understand up 10 times more than we ever would.
Oh, absolutely. And what is one thing that you wish everyone knew about autism?
One thing that everyone knew, is that there's really no difference.
Yeah.
They're people. They just perceive and see things differently than what you do. But if you take the time to listen, what they tell you is very informative. What they can provide for you, like even some of the days I'll be having, like a stressful day, and Keeley might just say something. And that one sentence, I'll go, oh, wow. Like, because they see on the outer things we don't see, because they have a literal world. Whereas ours is so wide spanned. we're always taking into everything, and they just see it as it is. So yeah. Listen.
Definitely. Oh, I love that. So just remind everyone the website and the Instagram handle again.
Yes. So Instagram and Keeley's Cause. There you go. Instagram and Facebook is Keeley's Cause, and our website is www.keeleyscause.org.au.
And just confirming that they can donate through donating cash, or you can donate an iPad if you choose to. And on the 15th of December, there is the option of donating toys for children and families that are.
There's also a couple of events up on our website if people want to come and join them. So in October, we've got a fundraising event at Carlton United Breweries. And then we have one in Ballarat for Yobbo Lotto. Then we have our Giving Day. And then now there's another event being created for next year by a motorcycle page organisation that are now going to run a yearly event for Keeley's Cause. So so there's lots happening. So we're pretty excited. So the more iPads that we can get, the better that there is. You know, you've got 1 in 42 now have autism. So if you divide that by 65% that are probably on welfare, and 1 in 5 of those children living with autism also have an intellectual disability. So there's still a lot of kids we need to support.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time, Sharon.
Thank you so much for having me.
I love it. I love that we got to do a take 2. And I'll talk to you soon.
All right, no worries. Let me know if you need a take 3. I'm happy to do it.
I will definitely let you know.
I'm sure we'll do the take 2 will be just fine. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
See ya. Bye.